Senator from Connecticut Chris Murphy says $1.5 billion. Let me say it again. A $1.5 billion bet, bigger than any futures purchases made at the time. 5 minutes before Trump's post. Who was it? Trump, a family member, a White House staffer? This is corruption. Mind-blowing corruption. Okay, the senator is not exactly right. The senator is referring to this story, which says on Monday, 7:04 a.m. Eastern Time, President Trump announced productive discussions with Iran were underway. And after Trump made that announcement, the S&P 500 shot way up. But about 15 minutes before Trump made that announcement, someone placed $1.5 billion in notional value worth of S&P 500 futures contracts. Let's simplify the futures contracts as a carnival game where there's a bucket and you put money into the bucket. And then this line moves randomly up and down. And when it moves up, more money gets added to your bucket. And when it moves down, money gets taken away from your bucket. And if your bucket ever falls below a certain dollar value, then you lose, the game is over. You get your bucket back, you get whatever money you have left back, you just can't play anymore. So E-mini S&P 500, currently the maintenance, what you have to keep in your bucket, is around $27,000. And every time the S&P 500 goes up 1 point, you get $50. When it goes down 1 point, you lose $50 per contract that you have open. Because of that $50 multiplier, the notional value of the contract is $50 times the value of the S&P 500, about 6,000. So a $1.5 billion notional value is not a literal bet of $1.5 billion. Instead, it's more like opening 4,500 of these contracts, saying you're going to play that carnival game 4,500 times simultaneously. And that's important to know because it is not like someone put $1.5 billion up and said, I'm going to gain $1.5 billion if the S&P 500 goes up, and I'm going to lose it if it doesn't. Instead, it's more like someone put 130 or 150 million, whatever, in this bucket 15 minutes in advance of Trump's announcement. I think that's important because it helps you understand the amount of money we're dealing with, 1 to 200 million, not 1 to 2 billion. And it helps you understand the risk. If nothing much changes in the S&P 500, then nothing much changes in the value of your money in that bucket. You can just say, okay, I'm done. I don't want to play anymore, and take your money back out of the bucket. The S&P 500 contracts were not the only futures contracts opened at 6:50 a.m. The Financial Times reports that there were also 6,200 Brent crude contracts and WTI futures that were opened between 6:49 and 6:50 a.m. And that is rare, but it's not unheard of. Yahoo Finance will let you download the per minute volume for those three contracts, the S&P 500 and the two oil contracts. And here what I've done is I've taken the hours of 5 to 7 a.m. Eastern time, and I've just plotted the volume of our three contracts over the 6 days that Yahoo Finance let me download the volume for. So here on Monday is our suspicious thing. Volume is low early in the morning. Here is the 6:49 minute where the volume spikes in all three of our future contracts. And the shaded red region is just values that are greater than our spike on Monday. And what I hope to illustrate with this plot is that there's one other day this week where volumes for those three contracts all moved at the same time and spiked into this red zone. There's actually a bigger spike on Thursday. And just to be doubly clear, my plot ends at 7 a.m. So it doesn't show the spike in reaction to Trump's tweet. This is like the pre-giant spike before Trump's tweet. And the thing I'm trying to get at is natural movements of this size, things that aren't insider trading. They do happen sometimes, but they're rare. Rare like the level of once per week. I mean, kind of. We only have 1 week of data. I only have 1 week of data, but it happens one other time in that week. So is this activity evidence of insider trading? Probably, but it's not as strong evidence as I think some headlines or tweets or senators want you to believe it is. And if it is insider trading, who is it? We might as well speculate. If it is an insider, it has to be someone with a couple $100 million to to enter into these contracts. It has to be someone with the infrastructure to do it. So you can't just open $1.5 billion of notional value in futures contracts through your Robinhood app. You have to know a broker or someone, probably multiple. So you've got to be set up to be able to do this, not just being rich. You've got to be connected to Donald Trump in the sense that you've got to be an insider who knows what he's thinking and what he's about to post. And you have to trust your knowledge enough that you're actually willing to put money on the line. Although again, you don't lose it all if nothing happens. So you have to trust Trump, at least somewhat. And you've got to be connected to Trump, and you've got to believe that Trump won't punish you because Trump would know that you had this information and someone traded on it. And then finally, you can't be worried about future prosecution. You're either not worried about it or you're not thinking about it. Like, what if the Democrats get in office next? Are they going to hunt you down for this? So I'm not certain this is insider trading, but I do think federal investigators, the SEC or whoever, should be looking into who made these trades. What's the name on this account? If the name is Lutnick or Besant or Kushner, we should look a lot more into that. So thanks for your time.